Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's September 19th of 2021. It's 9 p.m. I just went outside and gave some treats to a feral cat that comes around. Well, it sleeps here sometimes overnight on it. We got a couple cat houses out on our patio, and it comes but real nice cat, but we have one cat inside. Anyway, I just made a video. I'm wondering if I should show you the video here online, or if I should attach it. I can't make up my mind. I'll decide after I have a sip of Coke here. I mentioned this in one of the recent videos, maybe a couple. The Saturday people going to Washington, D.C. to protest the, was that January 6th? Yeah, January 6th at the people stormed the Capitol building, and that was, but Saturday, and today's Sunday, by the way, Saturday there was a protest in Washington, D.C. To protest the people who have been arrested for going in, being responsible for a death of a Capitol police officer, being responsible for the death of that woman who, of course, she was one of the protesters, and she was she's got a family, and I'm sure they're, but she was not a hero, and these people who, and others, not just the 500 or so people who have been arrested, although I think almost all of them have been, or out on bail till their court appearance. I think a couple have already pleaded guilty. But I mentioned the other day that there was going to be this protest, the right-wing extremist people protesting the arrest, and they make it sound like torture and everything. I mean, they're out of touch with reality. I don't know how you deal, I've talked about that. How do you deal with a situation with people who just positively are not in touch with reality? I mean, if they come to you in a hospital situation, you can perhaps have them committed to a psych hospital for some treatment and get on a medication. But I don't know, what do you do when they're members of Congress? What do you do when you have one who's, when President Trump is, one of those people, the former president of the United States, mentally ill and super stupid? Maybe the two, are, cause and effect, I don't know. But what do you do when you have about half of the population of the United States who are, and they're voters? Not only are there voters, there are some in Congress. They they run Fox News. I don't think they're the people actually, with a few exceptions, that are actually the news people, or the get away from the news people and get to the ones that are the entertainment people on Fox News. But I mean, what do you do when you have half of the nation that is, and they're voters? They're in the state legislatures. They draw up, laws. Some of them are probably sitting on, judicial benches or judges. What do you do when you have people? I think it was a CNN reporter, might have been another reporter. He was out. I think he was out Saturday. Oh, by the way, I said, hey, by the way, I was right about something. A few days ago, I said that I didn't think there'd be very many people at the protest on Saturday. And I was thinking maybe 500, if that. And apparently there was about 250 or less. There were more Capitol Police there than there were people coming to protest, and there wasn't any apparently any violence at all. But you just had CNN was interviewing several people. They interviewed this one guy, and asked him, what do you think about the January 6th when the rioters broke into that didn't happen. And the news reporter was like, no, when they broke in and they smashed down the doors and they were beating, police officers with pipes and clubs, and that didn't happen. And the news reporter says, the person being interviewed says, if that happened, show me video of it. And so they news people said, okay, here's the video of it. And it was the videos that we've all seen, police officer on the ground being beaten by people with clubs and sticks and poles and all that kind of stuff. And the guy's looking at it and he says, that didn't happen. That's not real. I mean, what do you do in a situation like that? I worked hospital security for 30 years, and one of the things, that I had to do was deal with, like there's this one guy came in, he was a big guy, but he came to the emergency room, and he said that he needed, he didn't come to me. I mean, I can't remember, he might have come to me and I might have said, you can check in over there, But anyway, he went over and he said that he had psychiatric problems and that he needed to get into a psych hospital. And then he, went over and, talked to the ER nurse, and then he talked to the ER doctor, and the ER doctor said, I'll see what I can do. I'll see if I can get you into a psych hospital. And then he called for Kansas City, Missouri, Western Missouri Mental Health. That's the psych hospital, like the public psych hospital. And I know it was, I think it was either a Friday or a Saturday, well, anyway, I remember because the person that the ER doctor was talking to said, oh, it's a weekend, we don't have any beds ready, we don't have much staff here, just send the person on home. And then, doctor, well, he's here and he wants to be, and he's having, So anyway, they wouldn't take him. By the way, I haven't been myself in Western Missouri Mental Health, but I've been to Western Missouri Mental Health on several occasions. So anyway, the ER doctor then is trying to find someplace else that will take this young man. And I'll tell you, that ER doctor, he sat there at that desk. Luckily, the ER wasn't busy. he sat there for hours, trying to find some place that would take this young man. And that's, if you're in another country, if you're if you're in Sweden or Denmark or the UK probably, or France or Portugal or any place in the rest of the world, you may not even believe you may not even believe my story. Anyway, this young man, then it ends up with me to babysit this guy because he's hearing voices, and as I'm talking to him, we're talking back and forth for hours, waiting while he says, I hear voices and they're saying, I'm hearing, he says, I think you're saying, he said, but I know you're not because you're a nice person. He said, but I think you're saying, and anyway, I forget what he said, like that you want to hurt me and that you're calling me names and all this kind of stuff. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And he says, I know you're not, but I hear it and I think that you are, but there's no, so anyway, the ER doctor finally got him in, called, got him into a place, finally. And the guy came back. I just happened to be on duty then. This guy came back after he got out. I'm not sure how long he was, I guess they got him on some medication. And he came back to thank the, ER doctor and the staff and stuff. So, but what do you do when people won't believe their lying eyes? Okay, here's a video of, rioters, in the Capitol building of the United States, breaking down doors, smashing windows, yelling to, kill the Vice President of the United States and to hang the Speaker of the House and doing all this kind of stuff. What do you do when, the one problem you have is actually that people don't want, and I work with some people like that who, well, not like that, but I worked with people who, they would not watch CNN News. They watched only Fox News. And that's all they watched. They did not watch CNN. And, we had even President Bush's administration. You had the Vice President. I don't know about President Bush, but you had the Vice President of the United States, Cheney, who, he had his, I guess they all, if you're somebody important, oh man, that drives me. That always bothered me. People that were like, I was told, there are some, be on the watch out, we have, some VIPs coming. We have, whatever, I just boiled inside. But you had Cheney, who had directions. You have these people that are celebrities and members of government, and for Cheney, the Vice President of the United States, and I don't know what it was for President Bush, I can't remember, probably the same, but when he went someplace, it was like, okay, well, it would have been the Vice President because, he's going to be, Secret Service, that type of stuff, so it must have also been somebody else. But anyway, for Cheney, all the television sets in the lobby and in the room had to be turned to Fox News only, and stuff like that. They had a whole list, Of course, they had a list of, well, like I said, probably for the Vice President, but I do know that, he required that the TV sets all be set to, which I was surprised about. I've talked about that before, that after, Bush was out of office, and when Obama was elected, when Obama, well, for his reelection, I think it was for his reelection, uh, Vice President Cheney, who was the vice president under, you know, Bush, he was for Fox News. He was the commentator. You know, he was the expert that they went to. You know, and they asked him. You know, as the election is, you know, taking place, and he's there sitting at Fox News, and he's their expert. And then, you know, Fox News is reporting, okay, you know, Obama has, you know, won the state of such and, you know, such and such. And then, you know, okay, Obama has run, and Cheney's, no, that's not correct. And then, of course, the Fox people, they're saying, well, Mr. Vice President, you know, of course he wasn't Vice President then, you know, but, you know, they use that title, you know. Well, yeah, our experts over in the, you know, they have gigantic control room, you know, computers, you know, everything, you know. No, our experts over there, you know, what do they call them? The team, you know, okay, all these, yeah, they have, no, they're wrong. And so then pretty quick, you know, you know, Fox News announces President Obama has won, you know, re-election, you know, as President of the United States. And Cheney says, no, that's not possible. He didn't, you know, he didn't, what I forget what he was going through. I was actually watching that. No, I think I may have watched a rerun of that whole segment. And the new, you know, the Fox people are, you know, no, Mr. Vice President, our team, we have just with the, you know, with our election, blah, blah, whatever they have the terms, you know, the things for the, you know, to make it sound like, you know. And he said no, and so he got up, and they had to go with him, and he goes over into the area, you know, where there are all these experts and the technicians and the analysts and the computers are humming away and all that kind of stuff, and he goes in there and he's telling them, you made a mistake, you know, and they're like, oh, no, this is, you know, this happened. That was a shock to me. I don't know if it was a shock to anybody else. It never occurred to me that Cheney and Bush and some of these people actually believed the stuff that, you know, Fox News was putting out. They've been listening to, that's all they've been listening to. I mean, it's just hard to believe that you would think that you'd want, you know, all sides, and you'd want the truth too, you know. You wouldn't just take, when you're having polls, you know, you wouldn't pick a polling organization that you'd want to pick the one that has the best track record and is the most honest. That's what you want. But they pick ones that are favorable to their cause. That's stupid. And there you see the results of what, you know, what happens. But when you have people here, you know, fellow Americans who, you know, they can see it. You can show it to them. The news, you know, you can show the mob, you know, smashing down doors, breaking into the capital of the United States of America, and there's the video, and these people will say, no, they were just tourists. And now some of them will say, well, they were just tourists, you know, wanting to see the Capitol. Yeah, they did enter through some doors there, and maybe somebody did break a door down, but they just entered into, you know, like tourists. And then you have other people that, you know, are saying, no, those were actually black people what is a black group? I can't think of it. Anyway, those were just black people in disguise, pretending to be real America. I mean, I don't know how you deal with something like that. Anyway, I didn't intend to get on that. Well, I never intend to get on a subject. Anyway, I hooked back up the Elgato Wave 3. I already put that away, didn't I? The other microphone. The other microphone really sounds good if I have it like, this close to my mouth. It really sounds good. But this, so I said I'm using Manicam. Right now I've just got this camera is the only one hooked to it because I was having that trouble, and so I thought maybe it's that I'm using the Brio camera too, but that wasn't the problem, and I knew that wasn't the problem. But so I've got maybe here later tonight or tomorrow I'll hook up the Preowned, and we can have both cameras going. My head looks so bad. That's why I've got this hat over here. You're probably going to see me wearing a hat more because my head, you probably don't care, but my head just looks so bad. I think I'm going to go ahead and show the cat video, so I don't have to splice it together. Let's check and see though what this young girl that 22 years old. I guess I don't think she was a YouTuber. I think she was what was one of those other sites that I don't go to. And I guess her and her fiance did videos that apparently were sort of uplifting, them. I saw a couple clips on the news or something, sharing a malt or something together, and that it was like very positive. And right now her fiance is I don't believe he's around. He's I think the police are trying to locate him. And my God, the world is just, 3 people shot at a baby shower in Pennsylvania after an argument over gifts. And poor women in Afghanistan. Afghanistan's women judges are in hiding, fearing reprisal from the men they jailed. Yeah. Democrats are unlikely to get the immigration measure in effect that they want. It's a 3,000 or 3,000. I don't even, when you get into these numbers, it's, let's see, Democrats are unlikely to get their immigration measure in the $3.5 trillion budget bill after the Senate parliamentarian, after the ruling. Democrats want to raise taxes on rich. That sounds bad. It'd be bad if, Democrats or Republicans, want to raise taxes on anybody, But the only thing is, Trump, the only thing he accomplished is he gave massive tax cuts to the rich. That's what the Republicans did. That's the only thing they accomplished, other than insurrection, and breaking into the Capitol building of the United States. The last time we had anything like that was, I think, in when they when England, broke into the capital of the United States. My memory's going was that 18? See, the Revolutionary War, 1814. I can't remember. Mind is going. Well, that's not surprising. Headline here that 2021 is on pace to be the worst year in decades for gun violence here in the United States. See, 2 injured after a Navy jet crashes in Texas. That crashed apparently over in Lake Worth, and by car, I think that's about I think it's about 8 miles from here. And luckily, both the pilots were in one aircraft because it was a training thing, and they both were able to eject. And I think they said they may have changed their mind because now when the first one landed in some power lines and the other landed, in some people's backyards or something. Says welcoming Afghanistans, people from Afghanistan, but we're sending Haitians back to Haiti. So the poor Haitians. I was in, down in, well, of course it happens all the time, but I mentioned this in some videos. In Florida, if you come from Cuba on a raft or however you get there, if you come from Cuba to the United States and you walk on the beach, you land out there and you swim or whatever, and you land in Florida and it's welcome, brother, come on. We'll find you a job. We got a house right now that, a place you can rent right now. Some people there'll be the food already there. I mean, it's, because of the Cubans that have come from Cuba and established themselves and whatever. When I was down there, and this is not unusual, some Haitians, ended up, because things are so bad in Haiti, I'm sure the people that are in Haiti would be much better off. I mean, if they could get to Cuba and get in there, even though, Cuba is a communist country. If they could get to Cuba, they'd be, hey, this is paradise, I'm not saying they wouldn't say, okay, well, we're here, and we got free medical care, and we got all this kind of stuff here, but just a few miles over there is Florida, the United States, so I'm not saying they wouldn't, but the poor Afghanistans, the poor Haitians, when they was just, basically I saw at the same time, I didn't see it, I'm talking about the news, Cubans landed, everybody went down there, and it was, they were welcome, and they were not going to be sent back. Haitians landed, they grabbed them by the scruff of the neck and get the hell out of here. It's getting where I don't know who these people are anymore that, win awards and, singers, actors, and that kind of stuff. I miss the old days. Chris Rock says he has COVID. He says, quote, "Trust me, you don't want this," unquote. A new beer is so strong it's illegal in 15 states. I wonder, I don't drink at all. I don't drink beer, Samuel Adams' new beer is so strong it's illegal in 15 states. Samuel Adams is launching a new beer, limited edition beer, and it packs such a potential punch it's illegal in 15 states. The brewers release a new version of the Utopias brand every 2 years, and the 12th edition will be on shelves starting October 11th. But don't expect looking for it in Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, my home state of Missouri, Mississippi, Montana, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, Oregon, South Carolina, Utah, Vermont, or West Virginia. What? You mean to tell me that Texas will not allow a beer? Why, they won't allow women to get medical care that that they need. They they don't want people to get the vaccines and all types of stuff. And you mean that that they also won't allow beer? I thought this was freedom. There's people going around attacking people, because they have freedom. Don't ask me if I've had the vaccine. Don't ask me to wear a mask. And they're attacking people because they're free and they've got things saying, T-shirts and stuff. Like I said, I'm not an alcohol drinker at all. I've had sips of beer a few times. The only time I think I had a full bottle of beer, I was working in Florida at a hospital, security at a hospital. They were having all those fires down there. The sky was just, filled with smoke. I could hardly find the hospital. And, when I drove to work, the smoke was just so bad. When I left the hospital and heading home, it was the same thing. It was just hard to see the road. The smoke was so bad, and it was in the air and everything. And I saw a Circle K or a 7-Eleven or someplace like that, and I was smelling that stuff and breathing it in, and I thought, I just got that, a cold beer. I'm a Coke drinker, but I thought a cold beer would be so good. I pulled in and must have got a little 6-pack of beer. I can't remember, but and I'm not sure if I drank it. That would be against the law. It'd be an open container. I'm not sure if I waited till I got home or whatever, but that tasted so good after all that smoke in the air that I drank a full bottle of beer. I don't think I got a can. I think I would have got a bottle. Looks like Anyway, let me go back. I think maybe I wasn't clear. I was right about the protest on Saturday. I said that very few people would show up and that there wouldn't be, any, I didn't expect any kind of, fighting or problems like that. And I said that I thought the most there might be people who were going and got on an aircraft and were told they had to wear a mask or something, and then they would just go ballistic, or something like that. And apparently people who went to this protest, the 200 or so of them who went to the protest, they didn't want any trouble. One, they could see they were totally outnumbered, but I think they still didn't want any trouble. And I think I mentioned that some news commentator or somebody said, I think it was somebody who's been a government official, somebody, a name you'd recognize, somebody who was, I don't know, Secretary of State, or somebody uh, said that he was, or maybe it was a news reporter who covers that type of stuff, said that it saddened him that he thought that the Capitol Police did a bit of overkill with their, and I don't. Those people on January 6th were insurrectionists, terrorists. They broke into the Capitol of the United States of America, desecrated the place, running around with, Confederate flags, just, attacking police officers. And so I think the Capitol Police, and I think I've mentioned this before, and it's not for political, it's not for political reasons, well, sort of, I think the District of Columbia should be made a state, which is not easy to do, You'd have to change the Constitution. It should be made a state, and the reason for that is I was surprised. I didn't realize they mentioned yesterday or today that the District of Columbia National Guard was on alert. I did not know that the District of Columbia had a National Guard after all this stuff that took place, and there was difficulty getting the National Guard on the 6th of January to respond. I didn't know that they had a National Guard, but that's one reason that I think that the District of Columbia, the District of Columbia is larger than like 5 or 6 states. I'm not sure if it's larger in size or if it's larger in, population. But when January 6th was happening and members of Congress were on the phone, Republican, calling for help, calling the President of the United States, and he was happy that that people were trying to kill his vice president, and happy that they were doing what they were doing. But remember, even Republicans were calling him probably only Republicans. The Democrats knew there's no need to. He's not gonna send help, and they were trying to get my understanding at the time was that the mayor actually is in charge of D.C., the District of Columbia, because it's not a state. But he does not have the authority to call the National Guard or request the National Guard from another state. He doesn't have that authority. Because it's the District of Columbia, it falls to somebody in the Department of Defense. I'm not sure, and it falls to the federal government to do that. And if Trump is mentally ill, and Trump is also super, super stupid, which in a way that's good. If he was smarter, he would know that he could pick up the phone and call the Secretary of Defense or whoever he needed to. He could just tell his people, tell them, not to send, the National Guard to, into the District of Columbia, or to send them to, the Capitol building. And I'm not sure what would have happened at that. The people on the other end of the phone, should have said yes, Mr. President. But what would they have done in reality? I don't know what in a situation like that. What. Now, of course, I've never been in anywhere near a situation like that, but I've worked uh, hospital security or whatever, where like the director of security says, you know, do such and such, or do this, or don't do that, or whatever, and I've gone to his office and said no, no, you're not firing that employee, no, you're not going to do this, no, you're not going to do do that. And it got where he knew he lost every time. And I went through the grievance procedure with this one director 4 times. I won all 4 times. And there was times where he would do something stupid, and I'd head to his office. When he got to his office, he'd say, "No, Jim, no. This doesn't apply to you and to your shift. It just applies to the first shift and the third shift, not to your shift." And then, of course, I'd have to say, "Mr. Ross, you can't, you can't do that. You can't say this only applies to 2 shifts, doesn't apply, that type of stuff." I had to deal with, and I dealt with, other things. I had no hesitation at all, but uh, I don't know what. I've never been in a situation. I've never been in a situation like these people, have found themselves, in. I mean, that's some high class. I mean, that's some heavy stuff. I mean, I've gone into like the personnel department, human relations, the personnel department, and uh, went in and said, this employee, not he wasn't with me, this employee needs to be fired right now. And actually, the director of personnel was in Florida at a seminar, and it was the assistant uh, director of human resources was there, and she said, "Oh no, it'll have to wait till Mr. Johnson gets back." And I said, "No." It was a matter of racism. I had told everybody, and I had told I told them as a group. I told their supervisor, and I told each one of them, I'm not standing for any of this racism, anymore, and that's it. And then this security officer was racist, and anyway, I went into human resources, and she said, "Mr. Johnson is," and I said, "You're the assistant, uh, you know, department head. You can do it, and you have to do it, and you're going to do it. You're going to do it right now." And she said, "No, it has to wait." And I said, "Fine, I'll take care of it." And then I went over to the assistant administrator of the hospital and went in and said, "This employee needs to be fired. He needs to be fired right now." And he picked up the phone, and actually he bypassed human resources. He just called up to security or whatever. And long story, I think I already told that story. But I mean, I I mentioned this in several videos here in the past recently, We need to learn from these incidents that happen. And then we need to solve the problem. That's what upset me a lot of times when I was working. Things would happen, and I'd say, well, okay, we got a problem here, whatever. And then the thing wouldn't get fixed. And then I got ballistic, you know. That's like with the racism, you know. It was like, okay, this, you know, I talked to these people. You know, the director of security that I worked for was extremely, extremely racist, and I had to deal with him. But when things don't get that, you know, let's fix them. Let's okay. Uh, we've seen, you know, that somebody was elected president of the United States. I'm talking about Trump, who so unbelievably stupid and having major mental problems. Now, the major mental problems that he has, he could be a. Of course, he failed in every business he's ever had, gone bankrupt in every business that he ever had. But he could still be a CEO of a company. He's going to go bankrupt because he's so stupid. But he can be have a TV show, and probably being stupid will probably make it a popular show. But if for the presidency or the vice presidency or you'd hope governorships and everything else, you'd hope that we'd say, okay, you know, Trump got elected, so what can we do? I mean, nothing illegal, you know. What can we do to make sure this doesn't happen again? You know, you can't say, okay, well, there has to be don't be like the governor of Texas that just gets these things passed that are, you know, unconstitutional and are going to be reversed by the court, but he just passes a thing so that the mob in Texas, you know, will like him. And then when the courts overrule him, you know, for those very things, then they're just going to turn their, you know, their hatred towards the Supreme Court or towards a judge and say, oh, he's, you know, he's no good, he's a communist or he's a liberal, you know, or whatever. But no, what we should do is, but the problem with our Constitution, you know, in order to be President of the United States, elected president, you have to be 35 years of age and born in the United States. That's it. Now, you don't want to put in there, you know, not in the Constitution, you don't want to put, okay, in order to be President of the United, you know, we'd have to change it. And of course it wouldn't, I mean, and this would be crazy. But, you know, you don't want to put in there, okay, in order to be President of the United States, you have to have an IQ of 150, or, you know, any number, no matter what you put. And the person has to submit his tax forms and everything to whatever. You don't want to do that because the Constitution says all you need is to be 35 years of age and born in the United States. And you don't want to go in there but, you know, what you can do is other things like we have two parties, you know. Our founding fathers really didn't want, now I see why, they didn't really want political parties. Turned out that, you know, they got them and then they were instrumental and eventually, you know. But I'm not sure exactly how you would, you know, craft the law, but in order for people to run in the various states and every place, you know, you're on the ballot, and you really have to be on the ballot as a Democrat or a Republican. It used to be you could be on there as a communist. I think you still could if somebody, you know, people would, well, I went to vote here in Texas and I went in and said, they said, you know, okay, here's the Republican ballot. Actually, I didn't know that. I thought it was one room. There was a room next, I told you this, there was a room next, I came in, there was a door that was open, and it looked totally dark in there. And then there was another door that was open, and bright lights were coming out, and there were people in there and everything. And so I just thought it was actually a sign. I didn't pay any attention. It makes me not too bright, does it? I went in there, and then they said, okay, well, here's the Republican ballot, because this was a primary election. In the primary election here in the United States, you vote along party lines to pick who's going to be your candidate to run for governor, mayor, or whatever, and that's how you pick them. So there's that, the election for that. But and that's what. So anyway, I went in. They said, okay, well, here's the Republican ballot, and I said, no, I need the communist ballot. And a guy, what? I said, yeah, I need a communist ballot. I'm voting communist. Joe, this guy, he's a communist. He's going to vote on a communist. He's going to vote on it, and next door, the Democratic room there, they didn't have. It didn't look like they were, I went in there, and when I went in to get the ballot for that ballot, I said, you need to have somebody standing at the door. You need to turn the light on here, and whatever. And the person just kind of looked at me like, well, there's a sign out there that says Republican and says Democrat, And I guess I would have had to say, well, I didn't read it, But, I don't know what, just do some studies, and can you come up with, you could come up with, in order to be on the Democratic or Republican ballot, or to be on the ballot when it's become, you have to declare what party, and that party you have to have given, tax. I don't know how you would do it, because the court cases would just be, But all the problems that we've had, we need to have smart people, that wouldn't be me, look at these things and figure, okay, how can we change it? We can't undo, Trump was elected president of the United States. He's going to have I can't picture him having a presidential library, but he's entitled to have a presidential library, and I'm sure he'll have one. And he'll charge money to get in. He'll probably have, it'll probably go somehow bankrupt. I don't think you can go, bankrupt on a presidential, but he'll figure some way to do it. He'll give people a loan money. I don't know how, but yeah, because he's that stupid. And but yeah, we need to, how can we fix things so these type of things don't happen again? You can't stop people from peacefully protesting. And you don't know when you have a group of people outside your place, it's not going to take, sometimes very much to, and we've seen in the past, even stories, especially go back a ways, people have been arrested before, you go back a ways. People have been arrested before for something, and the story gets around to the local people that that person that got arrested, it may be, it could have been a let's say a little girl died. Let's just make a story up. A little 6-year-old girl died, and the police, are investigating that, and then let's say the girl died by snake bite or something that you can, lightning hit her or something, and the police are investigating, and the police go pick up, somebody, a doctor, to an expert or something and the word goes around that the police the girl was, little 6-year-old girl was raped or something and strangled, and then a mob goes to the, police station or whatever and takes the doctor out or the police officer or whoever it is and strings them up, those type of things happened. Of course a lot, 90% or 95 probably happening to black people, black men. Or boys, But yeah, and we need to come up, and it could be done. Maybe we can look at some other countries and see how they. Well, we couldn't look at Germany too well. That didn't work very well, did it? Or Italy. I guess you need to look at countries that actually have governments. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hello, orange cat. Oh, you need a home so bad. Orange cat, say hello to everybody on YouTube. Oops, no, I didn't put any treats there. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, I don't know if I can get to the treats with. Maybe if I move this, I can set this. You're not gonna knock my cell phone down, are you? Okay. Where are you going? I didn't throw any food down there. Food's up here. Or are you pottying down there? Is that what you're doing? Okay, I put this. They're a treat. They're a treat. And they're a treat. They're a treat. Okay. There's the moon. And whoops, almost dropped the cell phone. And I don't know what planet that is up there. And I think I see another planet someplace. Let's see, where is it? I got an app on my cell phone that will tell what planet that is. But we know that's the moon. And meow. Meow. Come on up. Here's the treat. Oh, you need we got. Meow. Why don't you coming up? You're a strange cat. Okay. Okay, why don't you come up? Come on, orange cat. Come on, jump up here. Come on. What's the problem? Okay, orange cat, I'm going back in. Well, I'm leaving these foods out. These little treats for you. What did I do with the treats? Oh, here they are. Okay. Okay, I'm going in. I don't know why you're not coming up. Okay. I'm going in. You're on your own.